Hi guys, we are here today to learn how to achieve this curly, bouncy, body full of curls look with straightened crochet. So to achieve this look, you're going to need a crochet needle, your scissors, Marley hair. I'm using the Vivica A Fox brand, and you're also going to need a blow dryer, specifically one with a nozzle concentrator if you have it available. The concentrator makes it easier to straighten the hair. So this is my braid pattern. It's the same braid pattern I always use. I have about 10 braids going across, crisscrossing where I want parts to be, and as always I take the excessive hair and loop it through the braids in the back so that nothing is hanging. I do not sew, I crochet everything in. So to begin with, to show you the crochet technique I'm using, I'm going to loop the hair through, and we're only taking one leg of hair and pulling it through. That means there's only a knot on one side, and it gives an invisible part look on top of your parts, so it doesn't show any knots. So that's the technique I'm going to use throughout my head for this style. I'm going to finish this braid, which goes from the front of my head all the way to the back, which you saw in the beginning, and then we're going to start moving on to the rest of the hair. Now that I've finished that braid, my next step is marking off where I want my parts to be. I do this because the technique you use to crochet, you need to make sure that the knot is on the opposite end of where the part will be so that your part looks invisible. I do this so I remind myself when I get to that section to pay closer attention, because you know you get into the groove of things and sometimes you forget, oh, I wanted my part there, and then it's too late and you don't want to have to take everything down to start over. Now as you get to the back where my braids loop, do not crochet that loop area that I'm touching and showed you. You stop your crocheting on the flat part of your braid. So I complete one half of my head, and I use scrunchies to keep the hair in place on one side so everything remains neat. It just makes it easier to work. And then as you can see, I'm skipping the middle section where I wanted my parts, and I'm going to the opposite side of my head. So I'm going to complete the opposite side of my head up into where the parts are, and then I stop there and I start focusing on my parts. So now that I'm working on my part area, you want to be sure, as I mentioned earlier in the video, you want the knot on the opposite end of where you're going to wear this part. So you see right now I'm working on my middle part, so I'm looping the hair underneath, and then I'm going to pull a leg of hair through the loop, and when I pull that through, that knot is on the bottom of that braid. So when I pull the hair over, it looks like a normal part. It doesn't show a knot. It looks like an invisible part technique. So that's what you want to do on your parts. I have two parts. I like a middle part and I always like a side part. So that's what these two sections represent. So as I get to the front of my middle part on the other side, because you know you have two braids per part, you can see I'm looping and I'm taking the hair to the opposite end of where I took the hair for the other side of the part. So I completed installing all my parts, and as you can see, ladies, I am having Diana Ross vibes right now. By now you should know crochet is big hair, so do not panic. This will all come into size later. So I'm going to start cutting. I know a lot of you guys requested to show you how I cut my hair on my last video. I always use the same technique. I start from one side and I always only cut a few inches off the bottom. So to acknowledge those of you in the comments who continue to say you could have cut the hair in half and you could have saved money, no, I cannot. I like for my hair to have at least 14 to 16 inches. If you cut 22-inch hair in half, you do not have the length. As I go through, I am debulking some of the hair in the middle, and I make the bottom look very, very neat. That's why I'm cutting the bottom in small sections. I do not do big sections, and I also do some face framing, which is when you see me take the scissors down the front ways of my face. This is how I always cut my hair, no matter what style, no matter what type of hair. I work it in sections, and I work from one side of my head to the other until it has this shape that I like. It's usually like a bell shape, honestly. It's big at the bottom and it's flat on the top, so it kind of opens up as it goes. Okay, now that we have it cut, we are going to prep the hair for blow drying. I take a little coconut oil and work it through the hair, and then I comb through with a big comb. Once I do that, I start to twist and keep everything in sections. Ladies, the sections help keep everything neat and make the hair easier to work with. As you see, that hair was huge. Now we have sections that are easily manageable and we're able to work with, and we're not overwhelmed. I'm going to start with a back section, and I'm going to start blow drying. Ladies, don't be me. In the beginning of this video, I specifically told you to have a nozzle to make blow drying the hair easier. Is it possible without the nozzle? Yes, as you can see, I am getting the hair straight without the nozzle. And then I eventually remember that I have a nozzle to make it easier. The point of the nozzle is to concentrate that air in one section coming out of the blow dryer so that it's all focused in one area of the hair and you don't have a lot of heat dispersing around the hair. Therefore, the hair begins to straighten out in a faster time rather than you using a blow dryer without a nozzle. So I know people are going to ask, can you do it without a nozzle? Yes, the nozzle makes it easier. Here you can see we have one half of the hair straight and the other half curly, and it is shiny and it looks great. So just so you can see my blow dryer technique with the nozzle, I take the blow dryer starting from the root and start working my way down. And as you can see, the hair begins to straighten. Word to the wise, do a patch test starting with hair in the back, because if your dryer's too high, it will melt the hair. So now that we're all straight, I am brushing through the hair. I'm doing a little more face framing because I now have the hair straight and I can see exactly how it's going to fall. And then I'm actually going to come through with a razor comb and start removing a little more bulk. You don't have to do this, which is why I did not put in a razor comb as a necessity in the directions. I just like to go through and make things a little bit neater and add a little more layers to the hair. And again, going back to those people who insist on cutting their hair in half, if that's your choice and you want to save money, feel free. You will not get this look if you cut your hair in half. You will get a blunt, choppy look, and it will look heavy because you had nothing to cut and shape. As you can see here, this is how it looks straight. You could actually wear it like this if you like. It looked really nice. I played with it for a little while, and I decided I still wanted curls because, of course, it's synthetic hair. It will tangle if it's straight, and it'll be a little more high maintenance if you leave it straight. So we're going to go in for the curl action, girls. So I am using flexi rods, as you can see, and I have about 7 flexi rods, 2 on the sides, and then I have 3 in the back. And I'm starting with hot water in a cup, and I'm dipping each roller in, counting to 30, and then I take it out of the cup. I have a towel on hand, and I let the towel soak up any excess water from the hair as I pull the curl out of the cup. Ladies, be very, very, very careful when you do this, because I put the water in the microwave for about 5 minutes, so it was very hot. So fingers crossed, ladies. We're going to go in and start unraveling the curls, and luckily they actually came out pretty cute. I'm used to using Marley hair with rods when the hair has not been straightened. So it actually does hold a pretty nice curl with straightened hair. If you've ever just used flexi rods on Marley hair, you know you have to recurl every few days. The same thing with this. It is a very cute style. It is just a little bit high maintenance. So if you want to have curls that actually have the body consistently, I would say you're going to have to recurl maybe once a week. I would just recurl them at the end of the week. Right now I'm just going through and fluffing my curls and getting a little body to come out and lifting them, and as you can see, it actually came out pretty cute. And I'm showing you guys the other part, because remember we did do 2 parts, so I flipped it so I can have a part where I have the swoop in the front or my center part. And this is my final look, ladies, with the curls in the body. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I will answer them as always, and I truly appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you so much. Bye.